This is commentary on lesson 131 in the workbook for A Course in Miracles. No one can fail who seeks to reach the truth. A lot of these lessons, and this one specifically, is talking about the real world that we are being trained to learn how to see. And this real world is this very same world that we made up, and this very same little self that we made up is one in which we see it now through the eyes of love, and that our experience is only one of love. And it's this basic idea that God's response to what we made was not one in which we should feel guilty or be punished for what we've done, but rather God's response was to take that very thing that we made and use those situations, those relationships, those goals, and use them so that we have an experience of love in those situations instead of the experiences that we're now having with them, the suffering that we seem to experience, the guilt that we feel, all of those things that we need to recognize, that the sense of guilt that we have about seeking things of the world and a sense of being punished for those things is thoroughly opposed to love. That has no part of love, and that is not God's response to what we made up. And so that's key in understanding that God's response to what we did and what we made is only one of love, and gave us what it's calling in this lesson and these others, the real world, the one that we can perceive, where there's only just love in our experience. And so maybe I can bring up a section here from the course that we covered in one of our classes, was the decision for guiltlessness. And in it says, the happy learner cannot feel guilty about learning. This is so essential to learning that it should never be forgotten. The guiltless learner learns easily because his thoughts are free. Yet this entails the recognition that guilt is interference and not salvation, and serves no useful function at all. And so that's the key notion of understanding that that guilt is not justified in any situation, in anything that we've sought for in this world, the things we seek for, and that we're going to seek for them. We're going to seek for relationships, for companionships, for money, for sex, for all kinds of stuff, name and fame, validation. We're going to seek for all of those things, but that our sense of seeking for them things that brings guilt to us, and a sense of being punished for doing them, a sense of them failing, is what we need to release from our thinking. Any belief in guilt, any belief in punishment. And then we can have the kinds of experiences which we've been looking at in these lessons, where we will experience this real world that was a replacement for what we made. Okay, so in this lesson, this is a gorgeous lesson because it's saying to us that there is absolutely no reason for us to wait for this experience of love, and absolutely no reason for us to wait to experience this goal of heaven, which is where our course is leading us, is to bring us back to this awareness that heaven is our reality. Okay, so no one can fail who seeks to reach the truth. Failure is all about you while you seek for goals that cannot be achieved. You look for permanence in the impermanent, for love where there is none, for safety in the midst of danger, immortality within the darkness of the dream of death. Who could succeed where contradiction is the setting of his searching, and the place to which he comes to find stability? So again, right, all of these goals that we have now are all centered around our bodies and what will make our bodies better. And that's what he's saying. You're seeking for satisfaction, for permanent satisfaction in that which is impermanent. The body won't last. You're looking for love where there is none. And there's not, in our seeking of what we can get to ourselves, that's not where love is. Love is what we will seek for, these things that we can share with others, and for safety in the midst of danger. That's the basis behind this. We seek for a life and where our betterment is construed in terms of ourselves as a body. So who could succeed there? Goals that are meaningless are not attained. There's no way to reach them, for the means by which you strive for them are meaningless as they are. Who can use such senseless means and hope through them to gain in anything? Where can they lead, and what could they achieve that offers any hope of being real? Pursuit of the imagined leads to death because it is the search for nothingness. And while you seek for life, you ask for death. You look for safety and security, while in your heart you pray for danger and protection for the little dream you made. Yet searching is inevitable here. For this you came, and you will surely do the thing you came for. But the world cannot dictate the goal for which you search, unless you give it the power to do so. Otherwise, you still are free to choose a goal that lies beyond the world in every worldly thought, and one that comes to you from an idea relinquished yet remembered, old yet new, an echo of a heritage forgot, yet holding everything you really want. Be glad that search you must. Be glad as well to learn you search for heaven and must find the goal you really want. No one can fail to want this goal and reach it in the end. God's Son cannot seek vainly, though he try to force delay, deceive himself, and think that it is hell he seeks. When he is wrong, he finds correction. When he wanders off, he is led back to his appointed task. And this is right where we have to look at these feelings of guilt and punishment for the things that we do. And we have to see behind that that's just the ego's game of trying to keep us in hell. But whereas the Course is saying when we're wrong, we find correction, and when we wander off, we're led back to our appointed task. And so that appointed task is to remember that we're spirit, to realize we're not these bodies, we're spirit. That's the wandering off, is thinking I'm a body and what can I do to make my body better. No one remains in hell, for no one can abandon his Creator, nor affect his perfect, timeless, and unchanging love. You will find heaven. Everything you seek but this will fall away, yet not because it has been taken from you. It will go because you do not want it. You will reach the goal you really want as certainly as God created you in sinlessness. Why wait for heaven? It is here today. Time is the great illusion. It is past or in the future. Yet this cannot be if it is where God wills his Son to be. How could the will of God be in the past or yet to happen? What he wills is now, without a past, and wholly futureless. It is far removed from time, as is a tiny candle from a distant star, or what you choose from what you really want. Heaven remains your one alternative to this strange world you made in all its ways, its shifting patterns and uncertain goals, its painful pleasures and its tragic joys. God makes no contradiction. What denies its own existence and attacks itself is not of him. So that's what we're doing. That's how we're seeking now. It's just denying our true existence and attacking ourselves. But that's not who we are. That's not of God. We're of God. And so that's not who we are. He did not make two minds, with heaven as the glad effect of one, and earth the other's sorry outcome, which is heaven's opposite in every way. God does not suffer conflict, nor is his creation split in two. How could it be his Son could be in hell when God himself established him in heaven? Could he lose what the eternal will has given him to be his home forever? Let us not try longer to impose an alien will upon God's single purpose. He is here because he wills to be, and what he wills is present now, beyond the reach of time. Today we will not choose a paradox in place of truth. How could the Son of God make time to take away the will of God? He thus denies himself and contradicts what has no opposite. He thinks he made a hell opposing heaven, and believes that he abides in what does not exist, while heaven is the place he cannot find. Leave foolish thoughts like this behind, and turn your mind to true ideas instead. So that's the basis of our practice, right? Leave these foolish thoughts behind, that this seeking for my life in this body, what can I get to myself alone, the feelings of guilt, the feelings of punishment from that. Those are the crazy ideas that are opposed to love. They're not true. And we turn our mind to true ideas instead. No one can fail who seeks to reach the truth, and it is truth we seek to reach today. Yeah, so here's the longer practice period. We will devote 10 minutes to this goal 3 times today, and we will ask to see the rising of the real world to replace the foolish images that we hold dear with true ideas arising in place of thoughts that have no meaning, no effect, and neither source nor substance in truth. Okay, so that's the practice. We're going to do this the longer practice periods, 3 times today for 10 minutes. And so here's how we start. This we acknowledge as we start upon our practice periods. Begin with this. I asked, so these instructions now, follow these very carefully. Take out the book and make sure that you're reading them very carefully so you can do this practice just as it's written. So as we start this practice, we say, I ask to see a different world and think a different kind of thought from those I made. The world I seek, I did not make alone. The thoughts I want to think are not my own. So this is the real world that we're talking about, this world where there's our true self of spirit and only love. That's what we're seeking here. So to begin then, for several minutes we watch our minds and see, although our eyes are closed, the senseless world you think is real. This is a world of bodies, the world of time, the world of space. Review the thoughts as well which are compatible with such a world and which you think are true. Then let them go and sink below them to the holy place where they cannot enter, where they can enter not. There is a door beneath them in your mind which you cannot completely lock to hide what lies behind. So this is this imagery here that's important. There's this door inside of our minds that we can come to. Once we release what we think is reality, this reality of time and space and bodies, once we release that, there is a door beneath them in your mind which you cannot completely lock to hide what lies behind. Seek for that door and find it. But before you try to open it, remind yourself no one can fail who seeks to reach the truth, and it is this request you make today. Nothing but this has any meaning now. No other goal is valued now or sought. Nothing before this door you really want, and only what lies past it do you seek. Put out your hand and see how easily the door swings open, and with your one intent to go beyond it. Angels light the way, so that all darkness vanishes, and you are standing in a light so bright and clear that you can understand all things you see. A tiny moment of surprise, perhaps, will make you pause before you realize the world you see before you in the light reflects the truth you knew and did not quite forget in wandering away in dreams. You cannot fail today. There walks with you the Spirit Heaven sent you, that you might approach this door some day, and through his aid slip effortlessly past it to the light. Today, that day has come. Today, God keeps his ancient promise to his Holy Son, as does his Son remember his to him. This is a day of gladness, for we have come to the appointed time and place where you will find the goal of all your searching here, and all the seeking of the world, which end together as you pass beyond the door. Okay, so that's the longer practice period. And this is the experience that we're looking for, this light inside of us that will light up the real world, this world of love, this world of spirit, this world of what we truly are. And we can't fail because this is the truth, and that's what we're seeking. So these are the shorter practice periods throughout the day. It's saying, remember often that today should be a time of special gladness, and refrain from dismal thoughts and meaningless laments. All right, so this is an injunction, right? And it's got 2 parts. We want to refrain from dismal thoughts and meaningless laments. Those are the thoughts of suffering. Those are the thoughts of guilt. Those are the thoughts of how unsatisfying our life seems to be. All of those things, we want to lay those thoughts aside. So we want to still those thoughts and remember that today is a day of special gladness. Today is set itself to be a time of grace for you, or it says today is set by heaven itself to be a time of grace for you and for the world. And if you forget this happy fact, remind yourself with this: today I seek and find all that I want. My single purpose offers it to me. No one can fail who seeks to reach the truth. All right, so we want to try and do that as often as we can today. And then we want to take these longer practice periods of 10 minutes with these very specific instructions, of just letting go of how we see things and opening up to this light that's inside, this light of spirit, and let that be our experience. Okay, that's it for today. Thank you.